Hi everybody, welcome to the summer session in English 1301. I am your professor, Dr. Raft. I actually go by Dr. E, and that is my preference. It's just a little bit easier since my last name has an unnecessary letter in there that's not pronounced, so Dr. E is good. What I want to do in this video is just kind of walk you through the syllabus and the expectations for the course. So what I want to do right now is just give you a second to grab a pen or pencil and paper because I am going to ask you a couple of questions that you will later submit in an email. So having a pen and paper is going to be helpful. So why don't you pause me, go grab that and come back. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is go actually to the syllabus. So I'm pulling that up on the screen. As you'll notice at first, it's all of my contact information. We have to include this on a syllabus, even though some of it is pretty self-evident. But I do want you to notice that I have my email address right here, but I have specified here that using D2L is the best. In another video, I'll walk through some of the steps to send an email in D2L for any of you who aren't familiar with that process. But D2L just comes to my inbox instantly. If you send me an email from your personal address, your personal email address, it goes through this firewall. It's frustrating. It can take days to get to me. So using that D2L email is going to be the best way to get to me quickly and hopefully get a response quickly. Okay, I want you to also note that I have office hours, and those will be held from Monday to Thursday, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. And those will be in the D2L Instant Messages feature. Again, I'll walk through that in a separate kind of introductory video. It's a pretty easy function. It's just a chat, but I also offer some alternatives if you want to have some office hours or a meeting in a different way. Okay, I want you to take some time to look through some of this other information. I don't want to just read this to you and talk at you for this video, but I want you to understand that all the information you will need for the course should be contained in this document, right? So any of these resources should still be available to you, although probably in a more limited capacity due to our campus being closed currently. So if you need access to counseling or other kinds of organizations within the community to offer you some assistance, please just let me know and I'll do my best to connect you, okay? But all of this information is just typical for our syllabus, right? There are some links here and email addresses for counseling and advising, so keep that in mind. Also the Writing Center if you want some online tutoring, which they will be holding, so just keep that again in mind. I want to walk through our policies, okay? So the first is that if you aren't familiar with taking an online course, I want you to be really aware, or maybe if you've taken an online course, this is just a gentle reminder, that tone is everything. Because we are an asynchronous course, I'm not requiring that we meet every single week at particular times. I know y'all are busy and that some of you may be working or dealing with other things right now, especially at this difficult time. So all of our course will take place asynchronously, right? We're not meeting together, but that means that when you post, anything you post needs to be considerate of audience, right? We can't see you, we can't see your eye contact and your body language. We can't read those things because we're not in the same room. We can't hear your tone of voice. So when you go to post or to respond to your colleagues' posts, just make sure that you are being sensitive to the fact that they cannot read tone. I want us to always have respect in the way that we're sharing information in our course and the way we're responding to one another. So things to think about. Okay, the visit hours, they're right here, right in the instant messages feature. I also note that we can set up a WebEx meeting, which is something that we do in the Lone Star College system. We have WebEx, not something like Zoom, although we could do that if absolutely necessary, or we can have a phone call, right? If you have something you need to talk through, whether it's related to the course or something that's happening outside of the course that may be impacting your progress, just give me a call. But we'll set up a time to do that, okay? So that's going to be through email. So question number one that I want you to write down to then answer later in an email to me, and there will be several. The first is, what is the best way to get in touch with me? Okay, so I went over that at the very beginning of this talk, and I also have kind of mentioned that here. So remember that you need to email me via D2L. That is the best way, okay? And that is something that I go into more detail here. When you send an email, please make sure you tell me who you are, what class you're in. I'm teaching a couple of courses, and I don't recognize your names just yet, but I will. So in any professional or academic emails, you want to give us a heads up as your professors, right? Who are you? What's the class, right? Throw in a dear or a hey, Dr. E, just to introduce your ideas, close with your name, right? Try to include as much information that's relevant as possible. Please note that sometimes it can take 48 hours for me to respond, just depending on the day and the time. I don't check my emails frequently over the weekend, so just something to keep in mind. I may not get back to you immediately, so if you have a question related to an assignment or something's going on, just know that, I'm not going to immediately check that, but I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible, okay? The second question that you should write down for a later email to me is about late work. I don't accept late work. We're moving way too quickly in a summer session for late work. So this is a time when you're going to have to keep some sort of schedule or calendar to keep in mind all the due dates, okay? If there is some sort of an emergency, we can certainly talk about that during office hours, either on the instant messages, via phone, WebEx, however it is that we establish that we need to do that. But essentially, for the most part, I don't accept late work. So something to keep in mind, okay? Um, Attendance and participation. I know it seems like a strange thing in an online course for attendance, but I do take attendance. I just check every week. This is the easiest grade you're going to get, y'all. I just check every week that you are logging in. It's a little weird and a little bit snoopy, I'm sure, but I can see when you've logged in and when you've accessed different things in D2L. I'm just going to do a general kind of check. Hey, is everybody logged in this week? Okay, then you get your attendance credit, right? So it's just something I want you to keep in mind for this class and other classes. Your professors can see that kind of information, so just something to be aware of, okay? So the next thing I want you to write down in terms of this email that you're going to send to me with some of these responses is about plagiarism, okay? So my question number 3 is going to be, in your own words, I want you to describe the plagiarism policy that's included here. And essentially, in your own words, I want you to put this in writing, right? The first instance of plagiarism, whether it is intended or not, a lot of times it's not something that students intend, it just happens, right? The first instance is going to result for a 0 grade in the assignment. The second time it happens, it's a failing grade and information is given to our Vice President of Instruction. It sounds harsh, but it's something that, we want academic honesty and rigor in our college system, and generally in academia, plagiarism isn't tolerated. So I have included a link here. Please, if you're not familiar with plagiarism and the various ways that plagiarism exists, please educate yourself with this link and definitely let me know if you have any questions, okay? Here is some information about how our assignments and our percentages are broken down. We're going to use a point system in our class. It's easier for you to see on a weekly basis how your grades are stacking up instead of using percentages. So 100 points will be that attendance. A big chunk of our grade, 400 points or 40%, is going to be just your weekly reading responses, journal writings, annotation exercises. Those are all going to be in the discussion area of D2L, so you'll need to familiarize yourselves with those different areas pretty quickly, and I'll go through that again in a different video that walks you through, okay? There's also a paper portfolio, which is 300 points. That's a lot, right? So instead of writing just a huge research paper, we're going to break it down in some different ways. So the paper topic discussion post is about 150 points. That's going to take place over a number of weeks. And then we have the peer review session. Give me 1 second, folks. I need to pause because we have some dogs. Sorry about that, y'all. This is the nature of online teaching in this day and age. So we have the peer review session for the paper portfolio. That's going to be 50 points. And then you're going to overall submit everything at the end of that for 100 points, okay? So even though 300 points is a lot for this assignment, it's broken down in different ways. We're also going to do a fun multimedia project that's 150 points. That's just a neat and creative way to end the summer session. And I'll have a lot more information about both these bigger assignments I'll have a video that walks through that in a rubric, so don't worry too much immediately. Take it step by step. Okay, and then at the end of the course, there's a course reflection where I'm just going to ask you for your feedback and some ideas so that in the future when I teach the course, I can improve upon it. I can take your suggestions and your feedback into consideration, and that's something I really appreciate. So that's a 50-point grade. Okay, there's some more information about what I just walked through. So everything is kind of delineated here, so you can look at that when you have some time. I do briefly want to walk through how to read the syllabus schedule. If you're taking another course, you'll know that every syllabus schedule looks a little bit different, so I don't want ours to throw you off, okay? So if you look at week 1, I have the day in this column right here. The assignment or information is in the middle, and then the points value, okay? I really would love for you to look through each week and make sure that the points seem to add up okay, that I haven't included any confusing information or the due dates look incorrect. I've looked at this so many times, but there are always going to be things I don't catch, so I really would like your input on that. So just shoot me an email if you see anything, okay? So I want you to look at this week, right? I'll have the introduction video, the discussion post video, so both videos about that, and here the syllabus one, right? So I want you to understand that a lot of times in videos there will be these mini assignments. I'll ask you to take notes and send me an email or include that information in one of the discussion posts, so just something to keep in mind, okay? On Mondays, I usually post some prompts, okay? So you'll notice that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday are generally going to be the dates for things, but you have as much time as you need. You know, you can start working ahead if you need to or want to, or you can just do things when they are due. You know your schedule best, okay? I often, encourage folks to work just a little bit ahead so you're not rushing at 11:59, or 11:58 on Wednesday trying to get something posted by 11:59 p.m. because those are the times when it's just not going to work out for you, okay? So just something to keep in mind. You can always just, on Monday, these things are usually going to be posted by 8 a.m. There may be some times when they'll be posted by noon, so just keep that in mind. I'll try to let you know, but generally 8 a.m. is when everything will appear on Monday. So a prompt for the writing journal is going to be posted. That's due on Wednesday. And then I'm encouraging you to start reading what is academic writing. Okay, so that's something that's going to be posted, and you'll need to have that read not this week, but next week, but I'm trying to give you as much of a head start as possible, okay? So that's something to just consider. Wednesday, your writing journal discussion post is due. Your paper topic discussion prompt is going to be posted, okay? And then the email assignment that's including the answers for the questions that I'm posing in the video, that's going to be due to me by Wednesday, okay, by 11:59 p.m. Okay, so that's Monday and Wednesday, and then Friday. Your reading response is due, okay, based on the introduction reading. That's not correct. That's going to be based on something that I post in there, so just don't worry about that right now. And then I want you to respond to 2 colleagues for the writing journal. So the writing journal is right here on Wednesday. Take some time between Wednesday and Friday to go in and respond to not just 1, but 2 of your colleagues, okay? That's how we're getting into a discussion without being in a classroom together, right? I want you to read and engage with one another, right? And respond to those people who take the time to respond to you. And it doesn't have to be, somebody responds to your writing journal. You don't have to then do a huge, long, response to that person. Just a quick, like, thanks, hey, for reading, my response. I appreciate that. I agree, or I just, whatever. It's just something that acknowledges that you're having a conversation, okay? So that's something, those are things that are due on Friday. And then on Sunday, you'll have the paper topic discussion post, okay? Every week, we're going to start building those paper topics. Instead of writing a single huge essay, we're going to compile those and then combine them into the portfolio to submit at the very end of the summer session, okay? So this is when we're going to start thinking about research and think about, general topics, which I'll discuss later. Don't worry about that too much right now. And then I have a section for next week. So for next week, I want you to read what I kind of told you about earlier, right in the week. What is academic writing? right? These are all things that are posted in the content area. And I also want you to read Choi's What Americans Can Learn from Other Food Cultures, okay? So every week we'll usually do one reading that's related to writing in general to get us thinking about writing in specific ways, and another that's kind of related to a topic we'll get into. So that's generally our syllabus. Let me know if you have any questions or anything, and remember those questions. Look at the other videos for some others, okay? Thanks.